How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on this video, we're going to be talking about cars that I would buy and cars that I wouldn't buy based off of my experience and what I see at the dealer and what I see potentially being an issue down the line. So this is going to be the current model year, so 2025, 2026, depending on which model it is. But currently for sale, brand new, at your local Honda dealership. If you want a video just like this on the Acura side, drop a comment down below and I'll make one just like this on the Acura side as well. In no particular order, this is going to be one that I would purchase, and this would be the HRV. So 2.0 naturally aspirated port injection. So everything is still there, as simple as they come, and a great recipe for a long running vehicle that's going to be relatively maintenance efficient and not going to give you too many issues. We don't see too many of these cars in the shop. Yes, there was a couple recalls. There's also the rear windshield or the rear glass shattering. So Honda is aware of that. And we know the issue, so when they come in, we take care of it. It gets replaced if needed, and if it doesn't need it, then so be it. But, again, simple. Interior is pretty plain. The engine and the powertrain works. CVT, I know people are concerned with that. Just change the fluid every 40,000 miles, and you will be fine, both short and long trim. So definitely a car I think is a must, and I would buy, in my opinion. All right, moving right along here, we have the Civic 2.0. So this is an Atkinson engine, so no longer the same engine or similar engine that is offered now in the HRV. So, but still a pretty reliable, simple. It is a newer engine, but it's very similar to the hybrid engine that we are familiar with. So I think long term, it'll be a great vehicle. And it comes in a variety of different trims and stuff. Doesn't have too much going on with it. Not a lot of bells and whistles. Obviously, you could get it fully loaded, but still, in comparison to the bigger vehicles, pretty limited on the stuff that it comes with, and fairly reliable for the last year or so that it's been offered. So obviously, only time will tell if these engines or transmissions or anything like that will become an issue. But as of now, everything seems to be pointing in the right direction. All right, and we're going to jump to a car here that I would not buy, and that's going to be the Prologue. First things first, it is not a Honda product. It is a 100% GM product with a couple of emblems here and there displaying Honda. Yes, it's the best selling out of all the ones offered between the Cadillac Lyriq and the Blazer EV and the ZDX. It outsells all of them. So that goes to show you that people are actually thinking they're buying a Honda product when they are not. And, we've seen a ton of issues with these vehicles, and this is just the beginning of them. We don't know what and how these are going to develop as they get older. And, Honda and GM are no longer working with each other. So there's probably going to be some sort of a parts dilemma there, and, service news, service bulletins, stuff like that. So I would highly advise against buying one of these. If you want to lease it, great, lease it, return it after the lease is over. But absolutely at the very bottom of my list of cars I would purchase from Honda currently. All right, next on the list is a Civic Type R. Now, this is a fun, great driving vehicle. If you've never driven one, I encourage you to drive one. If you know how to drive manual, please go out and drive one. This car is absolutely phenomenal and fun to drive. And not only that, it's relatively reliable. So the only times we see them in the shop is often because of abuse of some sort or some sort of a misshift or something like that. No, they're not problem free, but they also seem to be relatively reliable. Even when modified, they handle a great amount of power. So great car, fun to drive. It's going to hold its value, great. So it'd be a good investment, if you want to call it that, for the long run. You just got to maintain it. The wear through tires pretty badly, and brakes all around, but that's because people are out there enjoying them the way it should be. So definitely a vehicle I would purchase, and one I would love to own myself in addition to my current car. But absolutely a must-have, or at the very minimum, a must-drive. If you haven't driven one, go to your local dealer, take it for a spin, it is absolutely worth it. All right, next on the list is the Civic Hybrid. Now, I just did a review on this one, and it's just about a year old or so, and not too much to talk about there, and that's because no news is good news. So we haven't seen too many issues with them, which is great. And again, they seem to be fairly reliable just off the small sample size that we have here. A lot of the previous generations at this exact time were developing a lot of issues, a lot of service bulletins, stuff like that. Seems to be relatively reliable. Great on gas, good looking car. Looks very simple yet nice and elegant in my opinion. And again, not too many bells and whistles like some of the other cars that we're going to talk about in a little bit later, but definitely a car that I think will be great in the short term and long term, in my opinion. So definitely one that I would personally buy, and you should definitely consider one as well. All right, next on the list is the Odyssey, and this is another one that I would buy if I was into or like minivans or stuff like that. I think minivans were great maybe a decade ago. Now they seem to phase it out as people rather have SUVs. A little bit more versatile and stuff like that. But the Odyssey, when it first came out, 2018, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be a disaster. And you know what? It's had its fair shares of recalls, but it's been relatively reliable in a grand scheme of things. So the engine's been great, the transmission's been great, offered a 9-speed and 10-speed. So either one is a relatively decent transmission. I know a lot of people don't like the 9-speed, but it's not that bad. It's definitely better than the old 6-speed that came in the older transmissions that had a ton of shifting issues. Especially if you didn't maintain the transmission fluid. These seem, if you neglect them a little bit, they still seem pretty good in the long run. So yes, they're going to cost you a little bit as far as maintenance comes. So tie-in belt, spark plugs, that's all stuff that some of the previous cars I mentioned didn't have. Obviously, they also have spark plugs, but this one has 6 instead of 4. So a little bit more labor intensive too. Not only there's two more of them, but they're also harder to do, especially the back bank there. Not everybody wants to go ahead and take on that project, but surprisingly reliable, especially against the previous generations, which had a ton of issues, in particular sliding doors and stuff like that. These, aside from the recalls, which were just engineering mistakes or mishaps, the doors seem to be reliable. We're not doing center rollers like that. We're not doing the motors, the closer motors, the slider motors, which again, the previous generations we did plenty of. So just to recap, when they initially came out, I thought they were going to be headaches left and right, but we don't see too many big issues with them, which is a positive. And Honda learned from the mistakes from the previous generations and made great strides on this one. So definitely one I would consider buying if that was the kind of car I was looking into. All right, next up we have the CRV 1.5 liter turbo. So for a couple different reasons, but first of them being that the 1.5T just seems to never have an never-ending issue with them. So we've already seen 2 of them in a shop with blown head gaskets, and this is just the beginning, in my opinion. Now there's a class action lawsuit going on with some of the older stuff. It'll probably transition into this, some of this newer stuff. Maybe not initially, but at some point. But I think there's finally some recognition that there's a bigger issue going on here, and that issue carried on to the current model because the hardware, so the block, the head bolts, the head gasket, all that stuff is still the same from the previous years or the previous generation. So I think that's going to be an issue continuing on this one, and we've already seen early signs of it. It's a turbo engine, direct injection. We're doing, injectors on a couple of them already. So I think long term, when people neglect them and they turn into sludge machines, then you're going to be wiping out turbos. You're going to start creating timing chain stretch, oil consumption, and a head gasket issue, along with some injectors as well. So a lot to consider, a lot to digest. There's also, a lot of fluids to be changed, the rear diff and stuff like that. So something you want to consider if you're looking into purchasing one. Now, I think they look great, but unfortunately, I'm just not a believer of the 1.5 liter turbo. Also, when you get into accidents, you have a risk of damaging intercooler and stuff like that. So again, just a lot of stuff here to think about. I do like how they look and how they drive, but the 1.5T, in my personal opinion, is concerning. So definitely a car I would try to stay away from at this point. So a car that I would buy and actually enjoy driving them a lot. I know the Ridgeline gets a lot of hate because it's not a body on frame, a pickup. It's a unibody pickup or a truck or whatever you want to call it. But it drives really nice, and for the average person, it's more than you need. not everybody wants a full body on frame type of truck. I had a Silverado myself. I personally hated it. So the Ridgeline drives like a Pilot, like a Passport, but it has a bed for the average consumer. That's more than enough. Now, obviously, if you're doing heavy construction, it's not the truck for you. But for most things, it is great. Much like the Odyssey, I thought it was going to have some issues initially, and they seem to be fairly reliable. Again, not every car is perfect. They do have some issues, but great car in my opinion. And if you maintain them, they definitely last long. Again, a lot of maintenance items here: timing belt, spark plugs, front transfer case, rear diff, transmission. So a lot of fluids to maintain. So proceed with caution there. If you purchase one of these vehicles, please definitely maintain them, and that goes for any vehicle. Just because it's a Honda doesn't mean you could go ahead and neglect it, because at some point it's going to come back and bite you. So I know a lot of people think they want to follow the maintenance minder, which is fine. Personally, I don't agree with it. It seems that Honda has finally learned from their mistakes, and the newer cars have a lot more aggressive maintenance minder. In particular, the oil change intervals seems like they've cut that at least in half, sometimes even more aggressive than that, which is a positive in my opinion, and people will argue with me, and that's fine. But the algorithm seems to be on my side for once, and I'm happy that it is being aggressive and kind of changing our ways, because I think it was just a sell tactic, to be honest. And I think that they're doing the right thing now by making the algorithm for the maintenance minder a little bit more aggressive. But a great vehicle, drives great. You can do some light off-roading with it if you want. But something I would definitely consider, and I have considered to purchasing one in the past, but have decided against it ultimately just because of my personal situations. But great vehicle, drives great, and you should definitely consider one. All right, so up next we have the Accord Hybrid. I would definitely purchase one of those. Yes, I know the body's not what everybody likes, but most people just want a good, reliable vehicle. And the Accord Hybrid could definitely be that. So we've seen plenty of injector issues, but I think Honda has, fixed that, addressed that. We don't see as many as we did when they initially came out, which is a positive, but only time will tell if this will be a, longer lasting issue or not. So we'll kind of see how it goes there. But overall, we haven't seen too many issues with them. Again, no car is perfect, but overall it's been reliable, and I think it's definitely a good car to own. Now, a couple issues here I have is if you live in an area like New York City or so, radars being stolen, mirrors are being stolen, and airbags are being stolen for these vehicles. Also, they come with bigger wheels, so we see a lot of blowouts, a lot of bent wheels and stuff like that. Just something for you to consider. But other than that, they drive nice and really enjoyable to watch. They have great power and stuff like that. But again, not every car is perfect, but I would definitely consider this one as an option if I was looking for one. And right to counter that, the Accord 1.5T is one that I would not consider, because I know, again, from the 1.5T stuff, that this is a recipe in the makings for a disaster in the long term. And the problem is people neglect the car, and these signs aren't there yet. Usually, the second or third owner ends up paying for the issues that the first or second owner kind of caused there. So, so this is just, it is what it is, but you have to be aware of, again, head gasket issues, turbo issues, injector issues, radars being stolen, mirrors being stolen, wheels stolen, bent, blown out tires, stuff like that on the nicer trims with the bigger wheels and stuff like that. So just something to consider. The biggest factor being that the powertrain, the 1.5T, I just don't think that it's a good engine, and in the long run it'll have more issues than the average engine that we've talked about up to this point. So the 1.5T here is a big key and the deciding factor between the hybrid and the 1.5T. Overall, the powertrain is just, the 1.5T is going to cost you more money in the long term, and that's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. So 1.5T, no buy. Accord Hybrid, thumbs up. All right, CRV Hybrid, much like the Accord Hybrid, great car. A couple injector issues here and there, but overall they've been great. Obviously has a little bit more maintenance than the Accord just because of the rear diff like that, but overall they've been great. I didn't mention in the previous one that there's also radar thefts of them, and mirrors and airbags as well, but the wheels aren't such an issue because they're a bigger tire, so they take the impact a little bit better than like a low profile tire. But yeah, overall the hybrid definitely a positive here. and just as long as it's not a 1.5T is good. Now, if you have a 1.5T, don't get discouraged. Just make sure you purchase Honda Care. Don't get the third-party warranties or anything like that. But the hybrid, they drive great, phenomenal power and stuff like that, and I think it's a good purchase, both short and long term. All right, so the 2023 newer Pilot, so we're talking a 25, 26 model year at this point. They've been relatively okay. We've had some issues here and there. The biggest factor here is the timing belt package. When it gets time to do that or any engine repair work, it's totally different from the previous generation J series. So that's just something you have to consider. I'm still a buyer of the Pilot. I have a 19 personally. And I would love to upgrade to a 20, 25, 26 at some point. But for now, I'm going to keep mine. But you have to consider that the timing belt is going to cost you a decent penny. V6, so it's going to have 6 spark plugs, has rear diff, has a transfer case, stuff like that. I'm kind of split between this one, between buy or sell or buy or not buy. But I'm going to give it the buy here just because overall, I think it'll be great. It has a 10-speed transmission, which is phenomenal. I know a lot of people complain about the jerkiness, but there's just a lot of going on there. I think it would have been better off with an 8-speed transmission, kill off the VCM. Not that the VCM is causing damage. I think it's just causing like a weird characteristic of driving experience, in my opinion. It's just too much going on between all that stuff. But I'm still a buyer of the Pilot. And I think it looks great. You could get, obviously, the trail sport, and then you could go and take it off-roading if you want. But also, radar theft is big on those, so just something for you to consider if you live in a bigger city or something like that. Just be mindful of that. So I'm a buyer of the new Pilot, and something you should consider as well. All right, so another car I'm kind of split here is on the Civic Si. So 1.5T, typically we don't see as many issues on head gaskets as these, and I think it's just because people, A, take better care of them, so they're more maintenance prone and more maintenance happy on them. And they also typically use 91 or 93 fuel, which definitely helps in avoiding head gasket issues, at least a shorter term. So, but at the end of the day, it's still 1.5T, still the same block. And by block, I mean bare block. Still the same head bolts, head gasket, and stuff like that. So at some point, it's probably still going to blow the head gasket. But we, again, don't see too many of them, whether enthusiasts are just taking it elsewhere or, again, being that they're more maintenance prone and use better quality fuel is kind of aiding that into where they're maybe getting bad past warranty or post warranty, and we're not seeing them in the shop. I've only done 2 SIs or so versus all the other ones that I've lost count. But I'm split here. I would buy one myself, knowing the risk of the 1.5T, but it's easy for me to say because I could go ahead and do the work myself. You as a consumer is just something you have to consider. And again, if you're buying this car, you're probably going to modify, which is fine. Just be aware that it's something that you're going to have to face at some point. I have a viewer who has one, and he knows, hey, whenever it happens, I'm ready. We're going to do head studs. We're going to do it the right way. And like that, after that, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So kind of split. I would probably lean to the buy, but I might get 49-51 split here. It's close. So you decide. I think they drive great. They sound great. They're pretty peppy. So obviously not a Type R or anything like that. But something just to consider. And you have to debate with yourself if you want to go ahead and potentially deal with that risk or not. But a great driving vehicle as well. All right, and last but not least, the new Passport. Now, this vehicle looks great in my opinion. Obviously, looks is subjective, but I am so glad that it looks totally different from the Pilot. The previous generation looked like a Pilot with the back cut off, and it just looked odd. This one has its own unique look. And obviously, it's only a couple of months old here, so too early to tell. It does have the J35Y8, kind of like the Pilot, so quad cam, so something you have to consider there as well. I'm obviously a buyer, but I'm going to be biased on this one because I love how it looks, and I love how they just packaged everything together. But something you have to consider. So yeah, the time belt package at some point. Yeah, spark plugs to worry about, rear diff, transfer case, transmission fluid, coolant obviously on all vehicles, and stuff like that. So it's going to be very maintenance heavy, just like most of the V6s. And once you add the all drive system, even more. But it's something I would definitely consider. I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but I would prefer that over the Pilot just because of the looks itself, even though the powertrain, we're essentially talking the same exact powertrain. But regardless, I'm a believer in the J35, and I think it'll be a great engine in the long run, but it's just going to be specifically a little bit more difficult to deal with when dealing with maintenance and any engine internal work that we need to do. Hopefully we don't need to do much of it. I haven't had to take one of those apart yet. I thought I was close this week, but I was not. So hopefully in the long run we are good here. And I'm a buyer, a little bit of bias here, but I'm a buyer. Even if I wasn't, I think it's going to be a great product. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you want something like this on the Acura side, let me know and I'll put something together for you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.